Hey everybody, it's the Bipolar Prophet, and I wanted to mention because I forgot during the video. I want to give a shout out to my friends over at Wilson Agri Farming Simulator Contracting on Facebook. They are a brand new contracting team for Farming Simulator 15 and Farming Simulator 13 as well. They are available for all your Farming Simulator contracting needs. They're also recruiting right now, so if you're looking maybe for a contracting job, you want to get in on being a contractor and getting to play on a bunch of different maps and getting to do a bunch of cool jobs without necessarily having to worry about doing it on your own. Contracting is a good way to do that. It's a good way to play on a lot of different maps and have a lot of fun and play with some great guys. And I promised them a shout out, and I forgot during the video, but I remembered this time, Stu. So make sure you guys check them out. There'll be a link in the description of the video to Wilson's Agri Farming Simulator 15 and Farming Simulator 13 contracting team, and they are check them out on Facebook and tell them the Bipolar Prophet sent you. Thanks, everybody. What's up, everybody? It's the Bipolar Prophet, and welcome back to Old Ridge Farm in Farming Simulator 15. So, you can see it's about 20 past 1 here in Old Ridge. I've been waiting for the sun to come back out before I started cutting OSR, but I really can't wait any longer. I need to get it done. So, me and Phil are over here. Phil is somewhere, wherever he is. He's over there, waiting for me to fill him up, and then he's going to take the OSR directly to the export center, to the train station, to the train freight depot. Mike actually put me in touch with Kylie's boyfriend, who was kind enough to offer me a decent contract, a decent amount of money for this OSR to be exported out to other parts of Europe. Or Europe, I should say. So I'm very grateful for that. Thank you, Mike. And hopefully, we'll get through this pretty quickly. This isn't going to take very long. It isn't a very big field, and I'd like to cut the wheat that I have ready over on field 6, I think it is, as well. Perry is actually over on, you can't quite see him, but he's actually over on field 12 spraying PK on the wheat. So, might as well go ahead and get this fired up. And, sorry about the flashy screen, had to turn it down a little bit. Let's see, let's get this in position. Where do we want to start? I think we will start. Oh, probably would help if I unfolded it as well. Huh? Whoops, wrong button. Jeez, did you forget how to farm sim, BP? I know it's been a while, huh? It's been 3 days since I've made a farm sim video, which for me is a very long time. I try not to go too many days in a row without making one, but lately I've had a lot of stuff to do with the as you guys know, the Bipolar Prophet Gaming Gives Back charity Christmas event walk is coming up. I just released a video yesterday, today being Monday. You guys will see this on Wednesday probably. I just released a video yesterday about the update to that, what's going on with that and everything. So, all right, and let's go cut some OSR. So yeah, so I've been pretty busy, with that, with getting ready for that, with getting stuff prepared for that, with trying to make videos for that. I've really been trying to make a lot of videos so you guys have stuff to watch while I'm on the road, which is going to be about 2 weeks. But unfortunately, I'm so busy with so many other things that I haven't really had time to do it. So, and I apologize for that. I also want to say a massive, massive thank you to every single one of you who have donated, who have left messages of support, who have said, hey, BP, good luck. I can't wait to see you on the walk and all this. Thank you so much. And I also want to send a special shout out to my friends. Reefy 1952, Mike, Mirman, however you may know him, and Shawnee B for being just constant sources of support, for putting the links to the charity event in their videos. That means so much to me, guys. Thank you so much. And of course, I also want to send a special shout out to my friend Grant, the Scottish gaming guy, who has also been immensely supportive, as he always is. Grant and me are great friends, and I am very honored to call him my friend. So, we are cutting OSR here on Old Ridge for the first time this year, the first and the last time this year. Got a little bit of a weed issue, but it's not bad. The field is in pretty good shape. It's slightly acidic. It's going to need some lime, as so many of my fields do. It's funny how when I first came to Old Ridge, I didn't have any issues with acidity, with soil pH or anything. But as the years go by, my soil is slowly becoming more and more problematic, and I think that's just due to the fact that obviously I don't let any of my fields go fallow. My fields get used every year for something. So if I had more acreage, I could certainly let some of them go fallow, let the grass kind of do its thing, But unfortunately, I just don't have that option. So And one thing about OSR is it is a break crop. You know, it will break the cultivation cycle of weeds and whatnot, I hope. Obviously, it doesn't really do that in the game. That, you know, the game doesn't recognize OSR or any crop as any different from any other crop. But in the story, you know, I can say that OSR is a break crop. So I'm working on my crop rotation for next year. Again, my crop rotation is very simple. It really is just rotating crops from one field to another, and trying not to plant the same thing in the same field too many times in a row, especially when it comes to potatoes and sugar beets. Those are the only ones I really, really am strict about, because, you know, trying to be as realistic as possible. So you know, normally, as you guys probably know, I sell almost all my grain to DeKalb. They buy almost all my grain, whether it be wheat or barley or OSR. But in this case, Mike was, you know, after having a good conversation with Mike, as I usually do, he was telling me that the export end of OSR is actually doing far better than the sort of, you know, the keeping it in the country end. So he got me in touch with Kylie's boyfriend, who's who's in charge over there at the export center, and said, you know, yep, we can, I called him. He said, yep, we can definitely buy it at a decent price. You know, we'll export it off to Europe. And so, and, you know, to be honest, DeKalb is not, they don't pay fantastic. They pay pretty well for barley, and they pay pretty well for wheat, both items which get used quite a bit in this country. OSR, on the other hand, is mostly an export crop, even though it's being grown more and more and more, because it's a simple crop to grow, because it's not bad for the soil, because it's not ridiculously expensive. It is more expensive than wheat or barley to grow, but the money you make from it offsets that cost, so it's worth it in the end. I have another bale over here. I just, you know what, that's the other thing. I realized using that baler and the way that I bale, you know, using the front windrower and not having big windrows, that baler requires a certain amount of flow going through it of material to release the bales neatly. What ends up happening is the bales end up flying off the end of it sometimes, and they end up in weird places. So that's what's going on with that. That's why you may occasionally see a bale and go, you have OSR and corn over here. How did you get a bale over here? Well, that's how I did it. So I think what I'm going to do is, after this is harvested, well, after the wheat's harvested as well, I want to get all the stuff that needs to be harvested before I do anything else. But after the wheat is harvested, I will come over here, I will spread some lime on this field. Although, again, you know, I'm very scared about spraying lime, because every time I put lime down, it turns into, you know, I go from slightly acidic, which isn't awful, to moderately alkaline, which is not great, right? And I get myself in trouble. So I don't know. I want to spread some lime, and then I want to, you know, maybe put some muck down on this field, plow it all in, and then plant grass on it, you know, as a cover crop. So we'll see if that happens or not. I have a few other things I need to do before I worry about that anyway. You know, and as I said, if I had the acreage, I would absolutely leave this field fallow. Let it just, you know, sit here in its natural state and do its thing, but I just really can't afford to. I need to have, you know, productive fields. I just don't have enough acreage. So I've also gotten several phone calls and a couple of emails from the compost company who are starting to wonder when I'm going to get over there and plant those trees. You know, they want to get those trees in now so that come, you know, mid-spring or so, they're tall enough to actually cut and start feeding that compost master and getting up and running. Because obviously right now it's not making any money. It's just costing them money in, you know, in labor and everything else. Because they do have a couple people that work over there all the time. I know that I was over there earlier today, and there were some electricians over there wiring some stuff up, doing some things. So now, why am I not cutting these weeds? Why are these weeds not disappearing when I go over them with the header? That's interesting. I think I may have a GRLE problem on the map, since I've made so much sort of foliage changes to it with grass and everything. So that could be what it is. Hopefully they'll disappear when I cultivate it, or when I plow it, I should say. I know that occasionally on the edges of this map that there is still alfalfa from the very first time I ever plowed a field on this map. You know, nearly a year and a half ago now. I don't know if it's a field boundary issue, if it's a foliage sublayer issue. I'm not really sure, but I know that the header should be cutting these weeds down, and it doesn't seem to be. So I don't know. I guess it's not a big deal, just so long as I can... oh, you know what it could be too? I just realized I am using a different header. I'm using a script that puts, if I can jump out here, that puts the correct particle animations for whatever you're cutting. So it could just be that it doesn't have a weed particle animation, so it just ignores the weeds. That could be what it is. I'm sure hopefully they will disappear. I'm sure they will disappear when I plow this field under. So had a pretty good conversation with Nick Crisford earlier today too, while you guys were away, about the prescription that he's working on for the farm for next year, about what I really want to plant, what I can get away with not planting. I may not plant potatoes this coming year. I may also not plant sugar beets this coming year. Potatoes and sugar beets are fairly intensive equipment-wise. They're fairly intensive labor-wise. They're not particularly expensive to plant. The seeds, seed potatoes are not bad, especially since I can, reserve some, and then when they go through the machine, they'll be cut up and they turn into seed potatoes. Sugar beet seeds are not ridiculously expensive, but for the amount of money that they bring in, it may not be bad to take a break from them for 2 or 3 years and then get back into them later. So that was one discussion we were having. Yeah, the yield on this is not bad. Now, see, we're into moderate acidity on this end of the field, so that I would definitely have to address. That I do not want to leave. I don't want to leave it so that it gets, severely acidic, and then I just lose all my yield. Because especially with grain crops, which is something that will probably go over here, either wheat or barley will go over here, the acidity is not their friend. Wheat and barley do not like a strongly acidic soil, so it would absolutely affect my yield. Yeah, it's weird. I never really noticed that before. Obviously, I switched to this script not too long ago, just because I'd like to have the right particle animations for whatever I'm cutting. I really did it for soybeans because obviously in the game there's particle animations for canola, there's particle animations for wheat and for barley and corn, but there isn't one for soybeans, obviously, because soybeans aren't part of the vanilla game. Although it looks like they will be for Farming Simulator 17, so that's kind of interesting. But so that could be why they're not cutting why the header's not cutting the weeds like it normally would. I would have to take that script out and test it and see if that's the case or not. But again, without going on and on and on and on about the weeds, is just so long as it cuts as long as the weeds disappear when I plow, I'm happy. I would doubt very much that I'm going to get more than a tipper load off of this field. It's just not big enough. That's kind of one thing that I've sort of been thinking about. I have some pretty big capacity equipment, and I don't really, if you think about it, have the need for it. Now, it is convenient to only have to make one trip down to the export center, instead of making multiple trips. But I just wonder if the stuff I have isn't too big for the farm. The problem is that I don't want to sell it and then have to buy more stuff and spend more money when I already have this stuff. I own the tippers. The tippers, I'm not, I don't lease them. I haven't had to go into a payment plan for the tippers, just for the big equipment. I do actually own this combine. I did pay Shawnee B off for it. If you guys remember way back, I actually bought this from Shawnee B, so this is paid for. The case Puma is nearly paid for, the small one. The big case is not nearly paid for. So the Kloss is, getting close to being paid for, even though I don't have it at the moment. That'll probably still be another couple of weeks before I see that, because it's a big job. They had to really disassemble the entire front of the tractor, take it all apart. So, Perry is done. Very good. Well, he can hang out. The nutrients over there on field 12 are really good. The PK was a little low, so I decided, that's a big field, and I really want to maximize my yield off that field, so it just made sense for me to make sure that I'm spraying the correct stuff on it and keeping it, keeping the soil in as good a condition as I possibly can. I also know that I sprayed herbicide on this field, and I'm pretty sure it was a long-acting herbicide, but unfortunately I didn't spray it pre-emerge. I sprayed it post-emerge, and apparently I didn't get the burn down that I should have gotten from it. I think I'm starting to have a herbicide problem where the weeds are becoming herbicide resistant. I talked about this earlier, and I said, the grain is herbicide resistant. Well, it's not the grain that becomes herbicide resistant, it's the weeds, so kind of misspoke there. I apologize for that. And I think I may be getting into a strain of herbicide-resistant weeds, so. guess I better start going up and down because with these turns I'm going to miss stuff. So. Well, 81% full, 5 tons, not too awful all in all. So for the size of the field, for, you know, OSR, which is not a great yielding crop to begin with. I don't see myself stopping growing OSR. In fact, I'd like to put OSR in some of the bigger fields next year. And again, that, you know, Nick will sort of guide me in the right direction on where that stuff needs to go. So, you know, put this here, put that there, you know, because he will come in and take soil samples. He'll fly his drone over with his infrared cameras, measure soil moisture, measure drainage, measure what field is best for what, you know, and he knows all that information, and he can tell me, give me a detailed map on what to plant where, and then what to do with it. So. And the good thing about that is once you've done that a couple of times, you sort of become more of an expert on it. You know, obviously this is Nick's job. He's an agronomist. This is his field. You know, he studies plants, he studies crops, he studies soil. You know, whereas I just sort of react to what's happening. But the more you know, the better off you're going to be. You know, farming isn't quite as sort of by the seat of your pants anymore as it used to be. It's very technical now. It's very knowledge-based. You have to know this stuff if you want to make money. Because it isn't always about maximizing your yield. It's more about maximizing your profits, which is, you know, far more important. I mean, why did I stop right there so I could drive through that? Come on, BP, use your head. I lifted the head way too early. I'm not sure what I was thinking. I was more concerned about making the turn than I was about getting that last bit of crop. You know what? In fact, I think I will turn that off, and I will unload. He's kind of too close to the... Oh, maybe not. I can sneak around him. Don't want to crush too much corn on the way by. There we go. We'll stop right there. But yeah, it's really more about, you know, maximizing your profit. So, you know, being as efficient as possible, putting the right amount of seed in the ground so that you're not wasting it, so you're not overpopulating, so you're not underpopulating and affecting your yield. Putting the right amount of chemicals on the field so that you're not overspraying and wasting money. Now, it is true that 90% of what we spray on any field is water, but there is a fair amount of chemicals in that water, and it's expensive. And if you overspray, you're wasting your money. So, you know, you can't really hit or miss this anymore. Everything is so tight. The profit margins are so tight that you have to be as efficient as you can possibly be. Okay, can we clean up my mess over here now, BP? I also have a lot of bales to pick up. During the time you guys were gone, I went around and I mowed a couple of meadows. Mowed, tedded, raked, the whole sort of deal, and got a lot of bales made. So, and I still have more to make. Hay bales, I should say, obviously. I still have a lot more to make, so I want to get as much hay as I can for the upcoming winter, obviously, and for right now, too. You know, I'm going to be out of silage very soon, so the cows are going to be needing more hay until I can get silage again. I'm about 2 days away from that corn chop over there, and then 6 days away from it fermenting, you know, game days, obviously. So that's 8 game days before I have silage. So the cows are going to be going on a strictly grass diet for a little while. I thought about trying to round up some silage from somebody, but the problem is that silage is not really a commodity. It's not something you generally buy because everybody that has it needs all that they can get. So it would be very difficult for me to try to find any. The only person I could think of that may have a little bit they could spare and would probably be last year's silage would be the major, and I may give him a call and see if he's got any to spare. So I thought about calling Justin because I know he's got a big, you know, animal operation over there, but I know he's also running on a shoestring as well, so he probably wouldn't have any he could spare either. And I don't want to put him out because Justin is a genuinely nice guy, and I know he would give me some even if he couldn't really spare it. And I definitely don't want to put him out. So, and I know Mike is always running on the edge of running out of silage as well, so I certainly wouldn't ask him either. So it really comes down to the major or maybe Cuthbert, maybe, but I doubt Cuthbert has any to spare. I'll call him and give him a shout and see if he has any he can let me have. Even if it's just enough to get me through the next, couple of weeks would be okay. So probably ought to lift that, huh? No sense dragging a header on the ground for no reason. That little spot of chopped straw right there has been there for a year and a half, and it won't go away. I don't know what it is with this. There are some weird areas of fields on this map, and there always has been. It's not a major concern. It doesn't bother me. It's not breaking the map or anything. It's just interesting. I suppose if I was smart, I could get Perry to come over here and spread some lime on this field because it's definitely going to need it. It doesn't really need anything else at the moment, but of course, as the days pass, the soil itself will leach out nitrogen, leach out PK. So I'm probably going to spread some lime and maybe muck this field. I guess I could get Perry to spread some lime on the field while I go over and cut wheat. So I have no idea how long I've been recording. That's one thing about recording with Fraps now. I don't have a timer anymore. And only having the one monitor, I don't have a timer going, on another monitor. I suppose I could use my phone, but to be honest, I don't really worry about it that much. Maybe what I'll do is we'll get the rest of this OSR cut. I'll unload. I'll bring this down to, or I'll have Phil bring it down to the export center. And then I will get Perry over here spreading lime, which will take about 3 minutes. So. And then we'll call that an episode. The next episode, we'll cut the wheat. I'm trying to catch up to you, Mike, but I'm a couple days behind, and I'm struggling to catch up. So, I'm not too worried about it anyway. The story is not so intertwined that we can't be a couple of days apart. I mean, let's be honest. Not something interesting happens, or really not something interesting. Could you possibly English today, BP? There isn't something interesting happening every single day on Old Ridge. You know what I mean? So we can be a couple days apart as far as the story goes. I really think that until this farm gets gigantic and I can't physically do it anymore, I'm going to do more combining myself. I really enjoy it. It's one of those relaxing, kind of enjoyable jobs that I tend to just automatically hand over to Perry or Phil and not really think about how much I like doing it. And Phil's kind of got it easy. All he's got to do is sit over there and, wait for me to come because there's no point in having him drive around this field. The field's too small. It's never a long drive from one end of it to the other to get to the trailer. So. Yeah, see, we're not even going to get another hopper full of OSR. Okay, again, OSR is another one of those crops like wheat, like barley. You got to plant a lot of it, and I just don't have the acreage. So I definitely want to buy a field this winter. I'm looking at maybe field 7 or maybe field 4. They're both pretty small, and if I can afford to buy both, I might buy both. They've been fallow for a long time, so they're going to need a lot of work, but that's okay. Anything to increase the acreage of the farm will be a good thing. And of course I have, incidental payments, I have bank payments I have to make. So we'll have to see after everything's harvested, after I make all my payments, how much money I actually have left that I can afford to spend on future investment as opposed to just operating capital. It's funny how I got that strip of weeds right down the middle of the field. If you remember, this was one field at one time, 11 south and 11 north was one field, and I cut it into two, so that could be very well. Where the road ran through the fields, that could be why the weeds grow there, so the soil there could be a little less optimal than it is everywhere else. See the PK texture over there on field 12, which is very nice. That field's in very good shape, and I want to keep it that way. So. You know, it's funny. Every time I cut a grain, I always toy with the idea of getting a bigger harvester. And then I say, do I really need a bigger harvester? I mean, there is really no justification for me to get a bigger harvester. I mean, this one is the perfect size for this farm. And I don't have the, $300,000, $400,000 that one of these costs. So this one doesn't have a ton of hours on it. It works fantastic. It's got all the features I need on it. So I am absolutely happy with it, and there's no need for me to get a bigger one. Now, field 12 is going to take a little while with this because that's a big field, but that's okay. Yep, not going to get two full hoppers of OSR off this field, but okay, we're certainly not going to get a full trailer load. But, again, I expected that with the yield of OSR, with the way that OSR is, and the capacity of my tippers. So I make such a mess of harvesting. I love watching guys that know what they're doing with harvesting, that can leave the exact right width left, so they only have to make one more pass. I have to come up here, cut this bit, turn around, and go back and cut the other bit now because I'm an idiot and don't know what I'm doing. How are you even a farmer, BP? After all these years, how are you even a farmer? Believe me, Phil is over there on his phone, taking pictures, putting them up on Instagram, saying, look at my boss and what a lousy combine driver he is. Luckily for him, it's all good-natured ribbing, and I certainly deserve it. So. All right, now hopefully this will be the last pass. I will unload. I actually have that tractor set up on Courseplay to run over to the export center, so maybe I'll do that. Maybe I will let him deliver it. I will go get Perry to completely break the immersiveness of the story. Get him set up to spray some lime over here. I wonder if I should I put liquid lime down? I don't know. Stop. Thank you. If I put liquid lime down, it'll increase the soil moisture, which is slightly low, and I won't have to swap implements. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll put liquid lime on, and then that will be that. And obviously liquid lime is just lime mixed with water. So the sprayer is not thrilled about it. Sometimes you really got to agitate the stuff good because sometimes it'll clump up and it can clog the sprayer nozzles. That sprayer manufacturer doesn't really recommend that you run liquid lime through it, but I have on numerous occasions and it works okay. So. And of course, since I made the modifications to the sprayer, well, since Perry and Phil, under my direction, made the modifications to the sprayer, I voided the warranty anyway, so. But I voided the warranty by bashing the booms against trees and bending them up anyway, so not a big deal. So what are we going to end up with here? About 9 tons of OSR? Not fantastic. Not fantastic, but I will take it. The soil was just about right, except for the acidity, and that obviously affected the yield some, so. I need to get a handle on this acidity problem because it's just it was just the home fields and then field 10 because as me and Nick determined there was a drainage problem from the housing estate directly across. Now it's starting to spread to the other fields. I may have to tile these fields and I really don't want to do that because it's big money bringing in contractors, a lot of sort of obstruction of the fields and all that. It's not that they're going to tear the fields up certainly because that's not how it works. But it's just the fact that they'd have to come in here and do it, in the spring because they don't want to do it in the winter, and then I'd have to wait for them to finish before I could start, doing all my soil prep. So I don't want to do it, and I haven't had to do it, but I may have to now because the acidity problem is really down to a drainage issue. So. Okay, finally. We are done. Yay! We are done. We are done with the OSR. I'll pick up a little speed here and go unload. We'll send Phil on his way to the export center, and which he has never been to before, so hopefully he doesn't get lost. Kind of hard to get lost on Old Ridge, you know, especially for him. He grew up here, you know, he's been here his whole life, so he should certainly know where he's going. And I will go get Perry and get him set up on some liquid lime and get him spreading lime over here, or spraying lime over here. Not even a half a tipper load, maybe? Well, you know, it is what it is. If you don't have the acreage, you don't get the yield. I mean, it could have been worse. I could have had none, right? So, no, if I'm going to do this, okay, so first thing I need to do is jump out of this, because he's actually not, whoops, having a little problem with my input bindings too lately. My input bindings all suddenly disappeared. I had a mod that wiped out everything, and I was not happy about it, to say the least. So, and I had to go back in and fix everything and all that. So, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Nope. I know I saved this course. I know I did. This should be Field 11 South to export. There it is. Field 11 South to export. What's the speed he's looking at? Yep, that should be fine. And drive the course. No, you can drive now, though, obviously. Could I get a little cover action, though? How do I get it to turn the covers on? Well, I suppose I could always just put them on, right? There we go. Excellent. All right, off you go. Have fun. Now, we're going to switch over to the other Puma. Once it lets me, that is. I've got a lot of stuff running, so, you know, obviously. Now, I got to get you off the field without destroying too much stuff. Go refill you. Probably should use some beacons. Turn your lights off, Phil. Turn your lights off, my man. No wonder I had so much lag. Oh crap. I forgot he's coming this way. I don't need a Perry and Phil collision. That's for sure. Oh. Phil, turn your lights off. Phil's so cautious. You know, Perry's a little bit more like me. He'll just rip down the road. You know, Phil's very cautious. He doesn't drive very fast, but he's pretty reliable. I mean, they're both reliable. I couldn't ask for two better guys to work for me. You know, when I first came to Old Ridge and I realized that I was going to need some help, and you know, and I went to the farm shop and I started to look at the, you know, the ads. You know, the sort of posts that people put up, say, hey, you know, farm hands looking for work and all this. I couldn't have picked two better guys. So we will go over here. We will get Perry set up with some liquid lime in the tanks. Get him over on Field 11 South. Get him spraying. And then we'll call this an episode. In the next episode, we will be cutting wheat over on Field 6. And then we'll probably bale that right up. And then after that, we will be collecting a whole lot of bales. Quite a few straw bales and quite a few hay bales. If this video is a little stuttery, I apologize, but I forgot to turn some stuff off in the background that I just now said, oh, yeah, I have this running, I have that running, you know. So, and Stuart Bates, thank you so much, my friend, as always, for your suggestions about, you know, how to get a better frame rate and everything. Stu gave me some ideas that I hadn't really thought about before, but that make a lot of sense. So I appreciate that, Stu. Thank you very much. Now, I might as well use this tank since it's full of water, and all I got to do is dump lime in the tanks afterwards. So give it a good stir. We just got paid for our canola, which wasn't very much, but it's better than nothing. And we'll put this on lime so I don't forget. There we go. And switch this one over back up under the hose ish. Switch that to PK because otherwise I won't be able to fill it up. I'd like to switch over to the other soil mod to change the map where I could change these wherever I want. But to be honest, I kind of think this is a little bit more realistic. So, all right, now let's go back over to field 12 or field 11 south, I should say. And so let me just check the finances real quick. What did we make here? $7,640. Wow. Not exactly rolling in it, huh? But then, like I said, I knew that was going to be the case because I just don't have the acreage over there. So, you know, it's going to happen like that with the rotation. It's funny because I have corn on one of my bigger fields, right? And corn, which is not an immediate revenue source. You know, it's going to be turned into silage, which is going to be fed to animals, which is going to generate milk, which will then pay me. Now, I don't know, actually, do I even have a spray course for this? I may not. You know what I could do? Let me just spray this myself real quick. Let me get the combine out of the way first, though. I am so famous for just leaving stuff in the way. And running, because, you know, diesel's cheap, right? Not. Oh, let me get you out of the way. I will just spray this field real quick myself. Get this folded up. Get it put down. Get the combine itself folded up. Lower the head. There we go. I have to take the side cutters off, but those can stay right there for now. All right, very good. Shut you off. Set the brake. Oh, probably could use a thumbnail, huh? Don't have a thumbnail at the moment. Let's see. Well, because I'm such a professional YouTuber and I take my thumbnails during the video, why not, right? Get the cloudy sky in the background. Get a little of that going. Turn that off. And I've had a couple people ask me, how do I turn the soil mud HUD off? You hold Alt and I until it disappears. That's all there is to it. And the rest, hiding the HUD, is a mod called HUD Hider, which if you Google it, you can certainly find it. So now we can bring that back up again and to turn the soil mod HUD back on, it's the same process. Hold Alt and I. So, and here comes Phil. You don't really need to be over here, so I'll just stop you right here. Jump into you. Stop. Geez, Phil, you're moving right along. He'll drive real slow on the road, but he'll go right along in the field, which is always funny. All right. Turn you off. Now I have every tractor over here. Why not, right? Get them all put away afterwards. You know me. Okay. Let's see. Switch to this. Get this unfolded. Yes, let's unfold it right on the combine, BP. That's a good idea. Try to leave a little bit of a headland, I guess, up here, just so I can actually turn around. Dial down the speed a bit. Turn it on, and off we go. We can turn that off, too, so I can see what I'm doing. Put down some lime. And then we'll probably, geez, you know, the nutrients right now are not bad, and I don't want to put anything down that I don't have to, but I'm just thinking ahead. If I put muck down on this, plow it all in, and then plant grass on it, I probably won't have to mess with it again. That will do right about there. We can turn around, not catch the boom on the tree. I mean, we have a smaller boom, and I'll still hook it on stuff. Try not to get too much overlap. It's a little difficult to see because of the amount of stuff that's already on this field. You know, this is going to be a little stuttery because we have, you know, canola, chopped canola texture on the field. We have the stubble, and now we have lime, so. And because this is a liquid, it will help raise the soil moisture level, which is good because I definitely need that. So 46%, it's not really low, but it's fairly low. Now, if I was smart, I should be able to just spin around right here. Do not hit that tree. And get the other edge of this. Not get it in the road, you big doofus. There we go. Get this edge of it. Going to be a lot of overlap. Again, this would be the case of in real life where you'd be able to turn off, the left side nozzles and only use the right side. But you can't do that in the game, so I'm going to end up having to overlap it. There's very little I can do about that. Well, I guess I could have, done a different pattern. That probably would have stopped the overlap, right? But 19 meters on a, 36 meter or 40 meter wide field is, you can only do so much. All right, and that will be that. Oh, did I get the very edge of the field? I should have, right? I did. I did. I can't see it, but I know I did. So, yep, I did. Okay, very good. Fold that up. All right, and that's that. In the next episode, we will be cutting wheat. Me and Phil will be cutting wheat. Perry will probably be over here. I'll either come over and spread muck before I go cut the wheat, or I will have Perry do it. And he'll probably be plowing, so I may have to switch tractors. This Puma will absolutely pull the plow, but I'd prefer to have the big case do it. So that'll be what's going to be happening in the next episode. As always, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Again, still loving Old Ridge. I don't see any reason for Old Ridge to ever stop. Even when Farming Simulator 17 comes out, if there's not an immediate release of Old Ridge for Farm Sim 17, we'll probably, I know I am going to keep doing it, and Mike has talked about it too, where he's going to keep playing on Farm Sim 15 with Old Ridge. And even if a 17 version comes out, we'll probably stay on this one anyway, because this one is so established. It's become customized to our style of play. It's become customized to our story. And I don't see any reason for it to stop until you guys all say, enough, I don't want to see any more Old Ridge. And you guys show no signs of that, and thank you so very much for that. One thing, please make sure you go check out the Bipolar Prophet Gaming Gives Back Christmas charity event, and please consider donating if you haven't already, and if you have, thank you so very much. Trying to raise as much money as we can for a very deserving family to have a great Christmas and a great New Year until the head of that family can get back on their feet. And that's really the goal. As always, make sure you check me out on all the social media links that are in the description of every video. I'm also on Instagram. I haven't updated the description of the video yet for Instagram, but make sure you check me out on Instagram. A little more sort of personal insight into BP. A lot of pictures, a lot of artwork that I do, different stuff, not, so much sim related, not so much gaming related, more just my real life. Thank you for coming to the channel, for liking, for commenting, for subscribing, for being my friends. Welcome to all the new members of the channel. Hopefully you're enjoying yourself. Lots and lots and lots of stuff to see. As always, I invite you to get active, to comment, to ask questions, to be involved in our awesome, awesome community. And as always, guys, thanks so much for making me a part of your YouTube day. And this is the Bipolar Prophet saying, see you later.